Do you feel freeze when you have to write in English? Or does write 300 words make you want to scream? If so, stay here with me. Hi, I'm Katerina, your HSP English teacher, and I help sensitive and neurodivergent learners to feel calm and confident when they study English. Today I will share a simple 3-step formula that helps you structure your IELTS essay or any essays even when your brain feels tired or overwhelmed. So let's get started. So hopefully you already know SRS, aka Statement Reason Support, which we covered in the previous video, and we are going to use it today, but not exactly in the same way as we use it in speaking. Because writing isn't like speaking. Not at all, but close enough. But let's say not at all. So writing needs structure, balance, and enough detail so your reader can follow your thinking easily. So let's talk about just a simple, let's say, a 300-word essay, which we want to aim for. So most essays have 4 paragraphs. So it's, as we all know, introduction, 2 paragraphs of body, and conclusion. So the essay itself follows the SRS pattern in this case. So introduction is the statement, then we have our reason, so 2 reasons usually, and conclusion is the support part. So as we covered before, support can be anything, not only examples but also stories, and in this case support stands for the conclusion. But also inside each body paragraph you also follow SRS again. So this SRS inside SRS structure creates clear, organized, and balanced writing. I know it's confusing, so stay tuned. So I'm going to explain each paragraph. So let's start with the introduction paragraph. Let's say the question in this case is, do you think it's better to study alone or with others? So that's the question for this essay. And the introduction is tricky, and we want it to be balanced and well written. So in this case, first and foremost, balance means that we have the same amount of words in each paragraph. So if we are aiming for 300 words, in this case the introduction part is going to be around 50 words. Okay, so I'm going to introduce 4 key points for the introduction paragraph. First and foremost, never ever start by giving your opinion or reasons, which is really different from the SRS we saw in speaking part, right? So we don't want to hear your opinion in the beginning, okay? So first, what we want is we want to give a background, explain both sides briefly, and aim for about 50 words in this case. Imagine you're explaining this to someone who knows nothing, okay? Who knows nothing, and usually they need to hear both sides first. And lastly, briefly state your position, but don't go into much detail. So never ever include anything like, I think blah 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 because. So we don't want to go to because or examples or really detailed explanation of your opinion. Just background in 1 sentence of your position in this case. So why about 50 words? As I said, we want to see the balance. Neither too short nor too detailed in this case, and jumping straight to your opinion or reasons makes your introduction too short or too unbalanced or too confusing in this case. So in how it can sound, so I have an example for you. So do you think it's better to study alone or with others? In this case you can say, first of all, both sides. Some people prefer studying alone for better concentration, while others believe studying with others is more effective for sharing ideas. Both methods have advantages. In my view, the best choice depends on the learner's goals and situation, since different tasks may require different approaches. So I just included my opinion at the end, and it was just one sentence in this case. So background and then your opinion very shortly. So what about body paragraph? Yes, body paragraph can be tricky too, but in each body paragraph we can use SRS formula as we covered in the speaking part. So it's really similar. So we have statement, reason, support. So what we have is, for example, statement can be, I have an example. So studying alone is helpful for focus and self-paced learning. Then we go to the reason, because it allows students to control the environment and go at their own speed. So I want to focus on this statement and reason first, because when you look at the paragraph of the first body paragraph, how it should look like is first statement and first sentence should be the overall conclusion of what you want to say. So the readers, when they look at your first sentence, should be able to understand it really clearly, what you want to say and what your opinion is. So first sentence is the most important part of the each body paragraph. Okay, so we have to include statement and reason, what you think, why you think so. So this is the most important part. Okay, and then we can go to the support part, which usually it's just an example, which is really related to your statement and reason. Don't forget about that. So don't give any random examples here. So in this case, it can be, for example, when I study grammar by myself, I can repeat difficult exercises and spend more time on weak areas without pressure. This kind of study helps improve concentration and build self-discipline. So this is the support part. And we have enough information, but actually here's an optional part which is really recommended by me and other teachers. So what is it? It is a mini conclusion. So it's not just a conclusion, it's a mini conclusion only of this paragraph. So we have statement, reason as the first sentence, then we have the support part, and then we conclude really briefly but also paraphrasing at the end. So it might look like, for tasks that require quiet and deep focus, solo study is often the most effective approach. So that's your conclusion, mini conclusion in this case. So never repeat yourself exactly, but try to conclude your paragraph very briefly at the end. And actually this knowledge can help you in the reading part of any tests. So especially in those questions where I asked which paragraph talks about this thing, usually just by looking at the beginning of the paragraph, so first sentence, or if you're not really sure, just by looking at the last sentence, you can actually understand what is it about and just pick that paragraph without actually reading the whole part. So that's how I got the full score in the IELTS reading. And so adding the mini conclusion wraps up the paragraph and reminds the reader why this idea matters. So because usually readers are really, not really fully focused on what you wrote, they have to be reminded constantly. So you show your opinion at the beginning and then you remind them at the end. So that's how body paragraph works. So the second body paragraph works the same way, so I'm not going to repeat myself, and let's jump into the conclusion paragraph. So in IELTS Writing Task 2 or any other essays, usually you must have a conclusion. In the IELTS Writing Task 1, you just have to say overall and then explain the overall tendencies, and you don't really need to have the conclusion paragraph. But in the task 2 or any other essays, we have to include the conclusion paragraph. So again, I have 4 key points for the conclusion paragraph today. So first of all, don't add new ideas here. So it's you have to conclude. So never add new ideas, different ideas, or something you want to include. Just include it in the body paragraph and never include it in the conclusion. Then don't repeat word for word what you said before. So again, paraphrasing is a really strong tool, and that's what you have to really obtain and acquire and exercise, and constantly trying to improve your paragraph or rephrasing skills. So try to rephrase, paraphrase everything and every time. So never ever use or repeat word for word what you said before. And then summarize clearly and briefly. But how do I summarize? Okay, I have a formula for you. So it's just 2 steps. Again, it's 50 words, so usually it's 2-3 sentences if they're long. So first part should paraphrase your main points you already talked in 2 body paragraphs. And then the second part, which is usually just 1 sentence, should summarize the summary in 1 sentence. So first you are summarizing the overall things, and then you just conclude it in 1 strong sentence. So how does it look like? I have an example. So usually we use in conclusion, or to summarize, or to sum up. So in conclusion, independent study is effective for improving focus and self-reliance, whereas group study enhances discussion and provides support. Learners should consider the subject matter, their objectives, and personal preferences when selecting a study method. And this is the strong 1 sentence conclusion of the conclusion paragraph. Often combining both approaches yields the most successful outcomes. So just 1 sentence, really briefly, really simply, but strongly. So again, first part should be paraphrasing, and then you just conclude in 1 sentence. And that's how the writing works. I'm sure it was really understandable, easy, and really informative for you. So if you want to practice this structure, watch my other video on how to use SRS in speaking, or just rewatch this video again. Thanks for watching. See you. Bye bye.